Hey, I'm Carrie. Welcome to my channel for the very first time. Welcome back, all around, welcome. I am Carrieblogger, a full-time career freelancer on Fiverr as a copywriter, and today I have a trusty glass of white wine because we are talking taxes. What, you say? It's not April? You still have to pay taxes? Yes. The worst thing about freelancing is taxes. There's no way around it. It's just the actual worst. For all of the amazing flexibility, work anywhere, set your own schedule, no boss, all of that's great until it comes time to pay your taxes. So that's what we're doing. All right, so the way that this video is gonna go, it's kind of in three parts. I'm gonna include timestamps for you right here, so if you wanna skip around, you're welcome to. We are gonna start this amazing conversation today with a nightmare story, my personal worst tax experience, and my history with freelance taxes, because this is my 7th year now and I've been paying freelance taxes for a while and I just barely feel like I've kind of gotten it figured out. Then I'm gonna dive into how much I make on Fiverr as a full-time career freelancer and how that translates into what I have to actually pay in taxes, in case that's interesting for you, or if you're also a freelancer who's kind of curious about maybe how that would turn out. Of course, I'm in the US and I live in Oregon for reference, because state taxes are a little bit different, of course. And then at the end, I have 5 freelance tax tips prepared for you. So hopefully you cannot make the same mistakes that I have made. Good luck. Here we go. My tax nightmare is a journey. It always is. So I am in my 7th year and I'm on tax accountant number 4. I knew that I had to pay freelance taxes and I knew it would be different because you don't have a W-2 and you don't have an employer paying part of your taxes and you don't even get reminders or anything else like that. And I had heard through the grapevine that you needed to pay them every quarter. And so I did that, I thought, and I tried to figure it out. My first guy with taxes was actually great. He was a wonderful asset for me, really, really helpful. But then we moved, and so I didn't want to keep with him, so I thought, I guess I'll get a new tax person. More wine. The second lady that I worked with, who was local to me when I moved, was really terrible. Like, pretty much totally useless. I don't know if she was just like at the end of her career and didn't care, or she thought I was just like a dummy, because I was. The tax consultancy thing was I just sat down and she just handed me a sticky note with how much I owed, which was disastrous. Disastrous. I had been following the tax estimates that she gave me. So if you're a freelancer like me and you're paying quarterly taxes, your tax accountant will likely print out estimates for you, and they're these vouchers that you're supposed to send in with your payments when you pay them. And so this will be later in the tax tips, but I was just following her advice. Like I didn't know anything at all. And so I was following her suggestions. The previous year we'd owed a little bit. I owed $170. Not bad. That's pretty much breaking even. Like I was totally happy with that. And so the next year I followed her advice again. And about halfway through the year, I knew that I was making more money than I had the year before. But because my income is so flexible, I wasn't sure what it was gonna end up being, like how much more it would be than the previous year. So halfway through the year, I emailed her and I was like, hey, I really think that like my estimates might not be right. Not sure what to do. And she was like, no, just pay them. That's why I gave you the voucher forms. Like, you're good, just pay them, it'll be fine. And I was like, questionable. So on my own volition, I tried to double what I was paying, because I thought if I'm like doubling my income, I should double my payments. Like that seemed fair. But again, I wasn't sure really how much more I was making, because it was, every year was just a big climb and I didn't know where I was gonna end up at the end of the year. So she said, just do it. And I was like, well, I'll do double. I think that'll make it work. So previous year I owed what? $170. The next year I show up for my wonderful tax consulting meeting and she hands me the sticky note that says, I owe $11,000 in taxes. Excuse me? And the worst thing as a freelancer is that not only am I paying what I didn't pay for last year, but I also owe my next estimate quarterly tax at the exact same time. So in a previous video, I'm pretty sure out of memory, I called it $13,000, which I think was actually right, if not a little bit more, because I had to pay my next quarter at the exact same time that I was also paying the amount that I owed previously. Let me just say that was a shock. I literally looked at her and was like, does this comma belong here? Because I don't think that comma belongs here. I'm getting heated. We were in a really good financial position. Again, tips coming at you. And so I will thank the heavens and everything around me that we did have the money to pay what we owed in taxes. The next year I X'd her and I found a not local accountant who specialized in creative freelancers like me. And I thought, he's gonna get it. Like he's gonna get it, right? He helped me refile my taxes. He actually helped us get a little tiny bit of a refund back from what we had to pay. And he, was really creative in getting like deductions I'd never heard of. He was like educating me about taxes and I was really, really helpful. But then all of a sudden, his strategy got a little bit sketchy, like a little more than I was ready to do. I'm all for fighting for deductions, but I also believe in paying your taxes and I don't think that we should cheat the system all that much. And whether he was right or not, I'm not a tax person, I don't know. But it was a little sketchy to me. He was basically saying like, don't pay any taxes, it'll work out. And so then he got really pissy and we move along to tax accountant number 4. Really, really nice. And she seemed to like understand my worry. Basically, that's what this all comes down to, because every year I was so worried about what I would end up paying, which was a realistic fear. Apparently, when you're saddled with $13,000 at once that you owe out of the blue to the government that you thought you were doing fine. I was paying every quarter. It was like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. She has hooked me up with the ultimate thing that I think will actually save me, which is she gave me like a spreadsheet with some sort of magical algorithm where I put in what I earn throughout the year and it automatically calculates an estimate according to what I made for that quarter. So unlike where the tax vouchers were just pre-printed for me and it said, assuming you make the exact same amount as last year, which has pretty much never happened except this year and last year, I'm finally like stabilizing. It's so confusing to me and I just literally want someone to give me a number. Just like, tell me what to pay because I don't know and I don't want to screw it up. As I've explained in a previous video, which is up here or up here, I don't remember which side I put it on, but that's okay. Earning $100,000 a year, that number is a little wiggly by a couple $1,000s because again, it's flexible to what I'm earning and then it's also flexible to what time I withdraw. So like I don't know if it matters. I accidentally had $4,000 in my account, which I forgot to withdraw until January 2nd. So it's all plus or minus about, $4,000, $5,000, which is fine with me. In total, this year in 2019, I earned $102,000. So exciting. That's just amazingly beyond my wildest dreams goal. To counter that, business expenses were $4,700, and that is taking into account things like equipment. I bought myself a fancy new MacBook as a work computer to upgrade. I bought new camera lenses, new photo backdrops, some new equipment for like videos and that kind of thing. New hard drive, as much as I can possibly and ethically put on as a business expense goes into that. I also have subscriptions for things like Microsoft Office and Adobe. And then of course, there's the very small amount that can be claimed for being a home office and work for home kind of job. So that is just a teeny tiny piece of our mortgage and our utilities, phone, internet, Spotify, Hulu, Netflix. Inspirational media is technically what those things are called to get it into your business. A lot of people think that like, oh, since you work from home, you can just put your mortgage on your business expense, right? But it's not how that works, unfortunately. That'd be pretty cool. The other thing that I'm doing to reduce my tax liability is putting money into an SEP. I fell off the table. I have not had that much wine, I promise. It's like 4 sips. I put my money into an SEP IRA, which is a special kind of retirement fund primarily for self-employed people or small business owners. My goal for that, which I've started doing I think 3 years ago when I learned about it, is to pay 11% of what I earn in a year into that retirement fund, which I have been able to do every year. And I'm really proud of myself for kind of setting myself up for success down the road, because having a retirement fund is just so important. And I think, not to go on a tangent, but I think that right now, especially the millennial mindset of money, I've been watching a lot of new kind of self-finance kind of videos. Tiffany Ferg is my girl. I love watching her money series videos. But anyway, I think that the long-term planning for millennials is not necessarily something that's very popular right now, and especially considering that things like Social Security and other programs probably won't be around by the time we're actually retiring. I think it's so important that people are paying into their own retirement, and just watching what my parents have built up, and I'm so proud of their financial, honestly, success at this age in their life as being ready to retire, because my parents started doing this very, very thoughtfully when they were really young. And so I want to follow in their proven footsteps and create something like a legacy for myself. So yeah, in addition to just being a tax liability, I think it's just a smart decision for my and my husband's financial future to be putting into a retirement fund. So that's that. The estimates of what I have paid all year are these, and that is for state and federal. Again, those are estimates. So I'm paying them 4 times a year, assuming that by the end of the year, I'm kind of gonna balance out. If I actually owe too much money and if I underpaid, I have an underpayment penalty that I hit in April, which I always try to avoid, not only because I think it's wasted money to have to pay a penalty, but also it's just so goddamn stressful to have to pay in April and then also pay my next quarter at once. So I have to go to the bank and lovingly ask for $7,000 to pay to the feds and $2,000 to pay to my amazing state of Oregon. Love you, Oregon, you're the best. Here are my tax tips. Share the learning and help you not have to pay $13,000 all at once. Okay, we're moving on from that. We're over it. That was 3 years ago, we're fine. Tax tip number 1, be super pessimistic. I track my 50% take home, so I never let myself even think that I'm making more than 50%. If taxes work out well and I do get a refund by chance, which is super rare, or if we barely make it and we just owe $100, that's perfect for me. And so I'm just assuming 50%. So be as pessimistic as possible, especially in this hustle culture where you're trying to show off and stand out and prove to everyone that you're such a big shot freelancer. Just don't play that game. Don't be upset and mad and when you will have to pay a ton in taxes and all of a sudden what you thought you earned is super shrunk down. Just be pessimistic, look at the glass half empty, get over it. You will thank me later. Tax tip number 2. That's a 4. Number 2, schedule your payments ahead of time because the last thing you want to do is forget. I am a notoriously forgetful person, so I just have created bullet journal systems for me to kind of survive, essentially. Otherwise, I'd forget everything. So when I create a new bullet journal for the year, the very first thing I do is I write in when the taxes are due, and then about 10 days sooner, I write in that my task is to actually go and pay them. And so my husband's always like, did you pay Q3? And I'm like, it's in the journal. I mean, I'm sure I did because I told myself to do it. Like I said, you can pay an underpayment penalty if you don't pay them on time or if you don't pay the full amount. And again, full amount is iffy. So just do your best, but you want to make sure that those are on time and that you can pay early if you can. I have seen some suggestions that were like, don't pay any estimates all year. Instead, put it in the stock market. You're gonna make a ton of money, and then whatever penalty you would have paid, you will have made millions of dollars in the stock market and Forex trading, and then it'll be like chump change to you what you owe. I think that is terrible advice, but I'm not a very financially risky kind of person. But personally, I do not agree with that. I want, in my heart of hearts, to owe nothing in April and just call it a good day. Just pay your estimates on time. Tax tip numero tres. Is that Spanish for 3? I don't remember. This is again related to those printout vouchers that you will get from your tax accountant. And I don't know if they just do that to be nice or they're like legally required to do that. I have no idea. But they will give you tax vouchers which are based on the year previous. And unless you are very sure that you're going to be making the exact same amount of money that's next year, don't go on those vouchers. Literally take some white out, just cross over it and write what is actually relevant to what you've earned, because the year that I just followed blissfully ignorant on those vouchers was the year that I got slammed, and it was my own fault because I didn't know what to do. I would always rather overpay, and again, because you have to pay the next estimate in April. So like I'm already having to pay thousands of dollars in April anyway, and I don't want to also be saddled with the burden of the year previous at the exact same time. So when in doubt, scale it up and just pay your taxes. Tax tip number 4. We're almost there, guys. Okay. Again, related to my personal kind of philosophy on finance and the way that my husband and I live. We are so blessed to live the kind of finance that we have. And so paying taxes has never been a problem. We always live with excess. That's just my always goal, is to just be saving all the time. So just because we kind of make a lot of money for people our age doesn't mean that we're going out and buying new cars. We do own our house. We do, go on vacations, but everything is always well within our means so that we can be paying toward retirement and we can have a big buffer to pay, unexpected costs that come up, like $13,000 of taxes. And so if you share a similar mindset, then you paying your taxes every quarter will just be fine. You'll just naturally save that amount. You'll be able to pay it, and it won't be an issue for you. If you are not living that way, either you tend to overspend, or the city you're living in, if it's very expensive, or if you have other costs, like a lot of, student loan debt you're paying down, or whatever your situation is, if you feel like you're not actually and naturally saving a lot of money, then one tip that I've read, which I've considered doing but haven't actually done, is to actually set up a separate savings account so that when you pay yourself out of your freelance earnings, you automatically put a portion of your earnings away into that savings account, which is specifically for tax payment. That's kind of a way to be proactive about it and just make sure that you have enough money already saved up so that when the quarter comes around, you can pay them. Tax tip, which is not really a tax tip, it's just like life advice. Go ask someone that you trust for help. Like I said, have been through 4 tax accountants. When it's not working out, I go find someone else because taxes are a really big deal. And I think that finance is not something that I'm personally like super sound in, and I'm learning a lot, and I'm just kind of learning by experience, and I definitely go research things when I have questions, but I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not an accountant. And so why am I trying to be an accountant for myself? I think that asking someone who's an expert is just such a great idea. Not only will it help you actually save money, which is the goal, but it's just also peace of mind. This is the first year that I really haven't been just stressed about taxes like all year, because I have to pay 4 times. So every time that comes around, I've always been stressed of when I go ask for my checks at the bank, like, is this the right amount of money? Am I going to screw myself in April? Will I have enough money to pay this? I don't know. And so definitely going to find someone who can be like an ally for you and care enough to let you ask those questions and feel very secure in that is just such an asset. All right, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more Freelance Friday videos and also honest reviews, which are completely honest. Even though the companies send them to me, I am not biased about them. I just want to share a deeper look into my life as a freelancer, making this a little more normal, a little less like hustle culture annoying, and just be transparent for anyone else who is freelancing or anyone who's just interested in this kind of new kind of work in the gig economy. So comment below if you have anything that you would like me to talk about in a future video. I love to answer those questions. Be sure to like this video, please, please, please. And like I said, subscribe. Now I'm not gonna get to work because I've been drinking, but you get to work.